Hello, welcome, hi to our second Dune Awakening live stream here out of our Oslo offices. Again, hiccups happen. I'm still here, we are still here. I hope everyone is still watching. But anyway, we have a lot to go through. I hope you are well hydrated and you're sitting comfortably. Before we go over the segment and what's coming up, some information for those of you who might have missed it. We have moved the release date for Dune Awakening from the 20th of May to the 10th of June with a head start on the 5th of June. That will give us a little bit of more time to work on some improvements, so there's no concern, there's no reason for concern. We just wanted to work on a few things a little bit longer, and hopefully it makes for a better gameplay experience for everyone as well. And more importantly, it gives us the time to do a non-NDA beta weekend on a large scale where you can be streaming, you will be able to talk about the game, you will make videos. Hopefully that is exciting to you. So that was one of the reasons as well. But what are we going to talk about today? So the segments. Combat. We will be talking about the vision of our combat for Dune Awakening. We will show you gameplay of both solo combat and group combat. We might even show some PvP, who knows? And then we will also have a segment about server structure, because we know a lot of you were kind of concerned, or some of you were concerned about Head Start and how it will be working, playing with your friends, playing with guilds and groups and such. So we go over that as well. And then towards the end, we'll also have a Q&A, of course, where we collect questions throughout the stream and then answer those with some of our guests. But before we dive into the combat section, let's watch a quick video.
Few survive this world, but those who do awaken. The desert wants you dead, off-worlder. If the sands don't take you, the storms will swallow you whole. But you don't have to walk this path alone. In every danger, there is opportunity. The foundation of something greater. A power waiting to be harnessed. Desert power. Some claim to rule this planet. But Arrakis is yours to explore. To fight for. To conquer. But there are forces beyond even your control. Master Arrakis, and it will open your mind. This is your path to awakening.
Welcome back. So, combat, we have seen your comments, your feedback on combat and what we have shown so far. So obviously we want to show you more. And to talk about combat, I have two guests with me now, two very interesting guests, and they really know what they're talking about. For one, I have Viljar here, game director on Dune Awakening. Viljar, you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Hi, I'm Viljar. I've been on the project for about 5 years, game director. Other projects I've worked on, I started at Funcom 25 years ago, working on Anarchy Online. I also worked here at on Age of Conan. I did some travel in between. I worked on the Syndicate shooter. I worked on Hitman Absolution and Mirror's Edge Catalyst, to mention a few games.
So a lot of things that are very relevant as well to especially this section and combat in Dune Awakening too. And then also, last but not least, we have Alex, lead combat designer. Alex, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Alex, lead combat designer on Dune Awakening. With Funcom, I've been for like 16 years now, with the last big project being Conan Exiles. Yeah.
Has it been 16 years?
It's been 16
That's
years.
kind of
That
crazy.
feels super old. It's great. I love
That's
it.
crazy.
Yeah.
I remember doing like Conan Exiles streams with you back in the days as well. It was super fun too.
It's good times.
Yes, good times. Anyway, now we're actually talking about combat in Dune Awakening though. And to talk about combats, we also have to talk about the vision of our combat in Dune Awakening, which is we kind of want to raise the bar when it comes to combat in open world survival games specifically. But what does that actually mean, Viljar?
Yeah, so when we set out, we wanted to make the best combat experience in the survival game genre. Combat in Dune Awakening is about the interplay between ranged, melee, and abilities. It is responsive and reactive. It is about positioning and movement. Quick in, quick out. Players focused on ranged and players focused on melee should have equal opportunity to succeed, but everyone will need to use abilities. Now, playing optimally means switching playstyle depending on the situation. Use ranged weapons as someone approaches, then quickly switch to melee as they get near.
So basically, combat is fast and with a lot of movement, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we are less about the perfectly timed button press, but more about the overall tactic, like reading the combat environment. So we looked more to action games than traditional survival games when it came to building our combat. So we are not going for a Souls-like approach to combat.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important to mention as well, like actiony but not Souls-like. And in that context, I think it's also very important to mention that the combat has to work both in a solo and in a group gameplay. That's a difficult thing. Group gameplay setting. There we go. Thank you, brain. There we go. Not hiccup.
Yeah. So we need to support solo and group play, as you said. So as a solo player, you really should try to separate enemies from the group. So try to approach it with a divide and conquer mentality. Abilities provide great opportunities for this approach, basically. So you can command a single NPC to come to you, or you can use a gravity grenade to keep the enemies behind them at bay, or even use a shield wall, which is normally used for cover, to actually put it in place of someone who approaches you, and then it will slow them down, giving you more react to come up with your tactics to deal with them. And sometimes it's okay to bravely run away. You can disengage with the Shigowari Claw or even a knee charge, which can be seen as combat tools, but also as good tools to get away from combat when you need to. And yes, on the co-op side, playing with friends is easier, but you still need to be careful and not pull everyone at the same time. Like the paradigm that we worked with is 1 enemy is fine, 2 will provide a challenge, and 3 should be hard. So if you go beyond that, you kind of brought it on yourself.
Good point. In the end there. You mentioned abilities and tools and things. One thing that's very important in the game as a whole is basically be able to customize your kind of experience, right? Like that goes into character customization, it goes into how you want to play outside of combat too, but more importantly, it really also goes into kind of customizing your own combat and your playstyle, right?
Yes, that's correct. So one of our pillars is expression and customization, and this is something that we follow throughout everything that we do in the game. So it's not just about making your character look the way that you want, but it's also developing the combat style that you want. You can, of course, fully commit to an archetype to play out a specific Dune fantasy, but you can also pick from all the skill trees if you want to take a more of a generalist approach.
And if you talk combat, of course, we also have to talk weapons. For one, ranged weapons. We've seen quite a few ranged weapon in examples of combat videos that we've shown, but can you tell us a little bit more about ranged combat in specific?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of ranged weapons in our game, and luckily the Dune lore actually supports this. It's mentioned many times in the Dune books. However, our approach with the mechanics and everything is that they're spring-loaded and mechanical. So we use dodge instead of bullets, which give them kind of a different feel to what you use from other games. I'll mention a few examples, like we have something called the drill shot. This will fire burrow darts. It will hit a shield and burrow through. And if you don't do a dash to counter that, it will go through the shield and damage you directly. But as I mentioned, you can do a dash, assuming you have the stamina, and then they will fall to the ground. So you have to be aware of these things and use dash and stamina elegantly and with purpose. We also have ranged weapons that you might see are similar to other games. For instance, we have something called the Karpov, which is an assault rifle. So.
And then we also have a disruptor, which is kind of like an SMG, right? That's specific to the gameplay as well. That's kind of important too.
Yes, of course. So we have the disruptor, which is very effective at taking down a shield. So if you see someone coming towards you with a shield on, quickly switch it to your disruptor, try to take down the shield and take them out before they get close to you.
Right. And when we talk about shields, of course, they are a very important part of the Dune universe. Melee combat as well, which we know that's one of the topics that a lot of people have talked about, because we haven't really shown that or explained it that much in showcases or videos specifically. So let's talk about shields and melee.
Yeah, so on the melee side, we have swords, we have rapiers, we have the kinjal, we have the crysknife. Swords deal damage in an area, but they are kind of slow. You do a swing, but it's kind of slow compared to the kinjal, which is very fast, but only focuses on one enemy at a time. So even there, you can play as you like. And of course, our shields, they work a little different from what you're used to in other games, I think. Our shields actually go down when you shoot, which makes you vulnerable. So you go into an encounter and start shooting, and suddenly you wonder why you take a lot of damage. Your shield went down. Now, this can be used, this also works the other way. So if you go against an enemy, if you time it right, you see them start firing, and then you dodge out of the way, and then you start damaging them. So it's about looking for windows of opportunity while dodging out of the way from damage. So you can, of course, do the melee approach, where your shield won't go down when you attack. However, you're still vulnerable to the slow blade attack. This is a special attack where if you're fighting against a shielded enemy, with a little bit of extra effort, you can actually press through their shield to deal damage through their shield. So you're never completely safe. And the last thing I'll mention on this is that you can be staggered by various attacks, in which case you should use the dash, as I mentioned already. And again, it uses stamina, so manage this carefully.
So the dash is kind of a get out of jail free card sometimes, as long as you have stamina, right?
Exactly.
And if you talk shields and weapons, we have to mention the lasguns too, of course.
Right, the lasguns. So the way that the lasguns work in lore is that if you fire a lasgun at a shield, you get an atomic explosion. And fun as that may seem in the short term, we deemed it impractical. So
I like that it's like, we deemed it impractical. So it's like have like nuclear explosions all over the map
We
constantly.
had it working, but we figured it out that it's probably not for the best, for the greater good of the game.
Probably not, yeah. It would be hilarious maybe for a day or so, but then I think
It was funny.
players would get kind of tired of it.
yeah, exactly. So the way we did it is that the Emperor decreed that any lasgun produced or crafted on Arrakis will have a safety. So basically, if you try to fire a lasgun at someone who's shielded, the lasgun just will refuse to fire.
Right.
So that's how we dealt with that.
As a kind of a elegant solution to the whole problem. Also, if we talk Holtzman tech, which the shield is of course a Holtzman tech, we have more Holtzman tech in the game, of course.
Yeah, so you have the Holtzman, the suspensor belts, and these are really good for both traversal and combat. So you can use them during combat to get out of trouble, or you can use it to descend upon your enemy. It's not an ability per se, but it's one aspect of the game which supports other abilities and how you use them.
I love them. They're really fun, and there's like different types of them too. Like hover, you can control it like more up and down and vertically, or just fall damage and things like that.
Yeah.
You briefly also mentioned the Dune fantasy earlier on, and of course, if you talk about that, we have archetype, like we call them in the game, that are very much going into this Dune fantasy of like, we have characters that people might know from the books or the movies, like Duncan Idaho, Swordmaster, for example. And for example, we also talked melee, we do actually have a Swordmaster archetype in the game, right?
Yeah, so we have the Swordmaster. They're of course melee focused. So some of the abilities that they have are deflection, where they can actually run towards an enemy who's firing darts at them and deflect those darts and don't take damage. They have the knee charge, which is very practical when you want to knee kick someone. But again, you can also use it for traversal to get away or get into the action if you want. And then they also have something called the Eye of the Storm, which is a whirlwind that will attack everything that they hit. It will damage everything they hit around them. And I want to mention this specifically for the beta players, because we've actually reworked how this whirlwind attack works. So the next version that you'll play will be much cooler.
There we go. A little bit of a nugget for the beta players. Thank you for all your feedback, by the way. It's very valuable and very much appreciated. Also, I am very much a Swordmaster at heart. I also like Retaliate, for example, which is a super cool skill, but we don't go into detail about that. You can try that out soon, hopefully yourself. But if we talk about archetype, some of you might have started watching the show or watching the show, the Bene Gesserit TV show that's now available. I think it's on HBO. If I remember, don't copy it. Maybe I think I'm right. But we also have a Bene Gesserit archetype tree as well, right?
Yes, we do have the Bene Gesserit, and they're all about voice powers and supreme muscle control. So they have abilities like the Bindu Sprint, where they can run at incredible speed, run into combat or run away from combat. They have the Compel, which is where they can command someone to get to them and incapacitate them for a bit until and actually give you time to damage them before they regain control over their limbs. And they also have the Weirding Step, which is a very cool ability where they can move superhumanly fast behind someone and then attack from the back.
So these are, of course, only two of the archetype trees that we mentioned, but it's kind of surprising as well because, or not surprising, because those are my favorite ones. I go with them a lot, and I love combining the Swordmaster and the Bene Gesserit trees because they just work so well together, especially also if you like melee. But we'll see more on that a little later in the combat segment. If we talk about the Dune universe, of course, we need to talk about spice. Spice is important in the game for pretty much everything. It influences politics, it influences economics, it influences your character in all different kind of interesting and special ways, and it also influences combat.
Yeah, so that's true. So we have this special ability called prescience. This is where you gain special powers through spice consumption or even inhaling spice in a spice field. If you're not wearing a spice mask for protection. So in the game, you start with two abilities, and then when you play the story, you will unlock a third ability at the same time as you unlock the spice prescience feature. So this is a very cool, very powerful mode to be in, where you will reduce the cooldowns on all of your abilities by quite a lot. You'll deal a lot more damage from your abilities, from range, from melee. You'll even become immune to poison. And additionally, it will actually trigger what we call capstone skills. So these are special passive skills that you invested in the various skill trees that we have. And they will only be active when you're in this special mode. So a few examples there are the shield overcharge, where you can actually see vulnerabilities in others' shield, and you can focus on those vulnerabilities and take down their shields faster. We have the Bindu dodge, where it appears as if dodge and blade attacks pass through you. Your health will regenerate at an accelerated pace as well. But what's really helpful to get an eye to understand the battlefield is it will highlight enemies. You will see their health, their weapons, their ammunition, and also the type of NPC that you will be dealing with. And it lasts for quite some time as well. It's a very powerful mode to be in, and it looks pretty cool as well.
Especially with ammunition, even though it's just like, oh, it shows ammunition, that's not that important. But it actually shows you when you have an opportunity or window to actually attack. Because yes, exactly, because NPCs have to reload as well. They kind of react very much like players have to as well.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of information. A lot of talk, and we're actually now going to show you how that actually looks in gameplay. We'll have Alex here.
Hopefully.
Play like a pro, like the pro he is, because he really knows what he's doing. No pressure, no pressure, Alex. Yes.
So let's see where we go to. We have had this character set up in a location of our choosing to showcase the combinations of experiences that our players will be able to have. Combat is a dance of multiple things, and we have a wide selection of very interesting toys that we'll demo here so that our viewers can see and experience.
So this will be solo combat first, right? Just to make that clear.
Ooh, we're actually low on water. I forgot to solve that problem beforehand. And we're standing in the sunlight.
See, that's why you should always be prepared if you go out.
Absolutely.
Make sure you have enough water.
We will
make
not
sure
cheat to fix this problem. We will suffer the consequences
because we can cheat.
We will find water in the location that we go to. As you see here, we've begun to be dehydrated. But
it's very much worth mentioning that you'll be having fewer dashes because you're low on hydration.
Your stamina actually gets limited.
Yeah.
If you can see where the pips are on the bottom left of the screen above the hydration icon, every time you cross that threshold, you're given a bonus to your stamina. Right now, because we're below both of the thresholds, we do not have that bonus. It's a missed statistical opportunity.
And your health goes down as well.
And the health is going to be ticking down. We have a challenge. We'll overcome the challenge. I promise.
And on the same time, you're also sunstroke.
I'm also sunstroke, yes. Yeah.
So
that's going bad,
if it rains, it pours, right?
Absolutely.
Even it's Arrakis, but it still rains, it pours.
It's pouring sunlight.
Go for it.
So, first, I'm going to talk about the tools that we're bringing, and then we're going to touch on the skills that we have equipped for this character. This character specifically going to be for my playstyle. Let's talk about first the equipment. We have a selection of items: healing, melee, disruptor, rifle, scattergun. These all have their uses. I will use them interchangeably in combat. We have a armor kit. This is light armor. This is more focused around dashing and dodging and being more protective against melee attacks. We have our battery pack that fuels our two of our primary resources, which is technically they both pull from the same pool, the energy pool, which Holtzman shields use, and this is the Holtzman shield, and Holtzman suspense use also. Now we'll quickly show this before we go any further. So I will first activate my shield, boop, boop, fantastic.
Nice.
And then as Viljar said, the unique narrative of Dune forces projectiles to have to put down a shield for them to read it. We must time our gameplay around this mechanic. Then, suspenses. The one I chose is the one I personally prefer the most. It is energy efficient, it doesn't give me vertical velocity, but it allows me to float. Maybe I will have to cheat to solve this water problem. This is becoming poignant.
And you saw that his shield started blinking there. That's because he was low on energy while he was suspended.
I'm gonna gas out and pop the bubble. Boom. There we go. Right. So here we have lost our shield. We have lost the perfect barrier because it is tied to the resource pool. Because we're floating, it will regenerate, and it will re-engage. There we go. Now, in terms of skills, let's have a quick look. The camera overlay is hiding a couple of buttons, but I'll pretend I know where they are and click through them. So here we see our 5 archetypes, and my choice of skills, for me personally, and because of the setup that we're playing, which is away from the TV a little bit, on remote hardware. So if I miss, it's not my fault, it's the hardware's fault. I'm getting that out of the way now.
No gaming chair either.
No. Knee charge, compel, and Assault Seeker. in terms of my techniques, which are actions that function passively. I can't read them without glasses, oh my goodness. Right, that belief just says center of mass. We have energy conservation to give me more juice so that I can fight for longer, float for longer, shield for longer, and death from above to give me benefits to my damage output while I'm floating. With that said, let's do this actually. Let's do a little bit cheating so that people don't see the magic hands while we're fixing the character.
The water consumption.
The water consumption. The thing that our support crew don't realize is that I need to see the other monitor so that I can fix it as well.
Actually,
Fantastic. I'm going to look this way to fix it. Magic button there.
Just so we are like aligned with our character
It's
too.
completely fair. There's no problems at all. This is just magic that happens.
Do you need some water as
Buffy?
well? Are you
No,
okay?
I'm good. It's fine. So the character's fixed,
Nice.
hydrated, cheating concluded. See, we have a blue bar. It's magic. Perfectly planned, perfectly prepared. Nothing happened.
It was all planned
It was
anyway
all
from the
planned.
get-go, so
And you can see that even though we're cheating, the health doesn't go up
Exactly.
immediately. You will have
Because-
to regenerate health.
Because we are hydrated, we are regaining our maximum lost life.
Exactly.
Right. So what we're going to give it a second, so that we don't completely get destroyed, even though we're shielded as we progress forward.
We can also talk about the fact that you're actually wearing a helmet, but you can actually hide the helmet.
Should I show that?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can. I mean, it's not combat related, but I think a lot of
Where is
people
that
are
button, if you
actually
guys remember?
press D. You can press D,
Press the D key.
and there you go. So
There
you have a
it
toggle
is.
here, so you can actually toggle your helmet on and off, and that works with
I
all
like
armor.
helmetless in this case. Much
Me
better.
too. Like a lot of players, like just have like. I don't want to
Let's get
see.
out of
I want to
this.
see the beautiful face I made during the character creation.
Okay.
Right.
I believe.
You can
Unless you
survive.
guys-
You can survive the first encounter. That's just
I hope
outside.
so. We have DB&O mechanics that allow me to stand back up again. Let's experience.
And you're also,
Well, if not, you have
and you're
an
also being
excuse.
being dehydrated by the sun again.
Still, right. Let's get into the shadows. I will. The location we're going to is an eco lab. It's to the forward left. We're gonna rotate counterclockwise and hit the entrance. I've been in this eco lab a couple times, so I have relatively good memory of where the NPCs are. But if I make a mistake, it's not my fault. It's the hardware's fault. We shall begin.
Taking a bold approach here.
This is not. I hit every bullet. It's absolutely not me. We'll reheal, and because we're shielded, we continue to advance. Let's get into it. Let's pressure this. Let's pick up the tempo. I'm gonna go here, rotate left, compel core. Thank you. We dispatch him easily. We're relatively safe here. This character is by himself. His mate was dispatched. We're shielded. We're in shadow, and we're inside. This is the entrance of our Ecolab location. I used compel there as one of my skills. In the very beginning of the game, we do not have access, like Viljar said, to all three skills. You must experience a certain narrative event before they come online.
Yeah.
At that
You
which point-
probably have gotten it at this point in the game
yes.
because it's like 10 hours in or something.
Do you remember which tier we're in right now?
Steel.
Steel tier?
Well, this one is steel tier, but it's placed in Iron tier area.
Right, it's the challenging Ecolab.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites because it is quite long. It has very interesting disposition of rooms, and it forces you to really, really work, especially for the tier that it's in. So we're gonna make our way down the hall. Actually, no, we'll save that for later. I was thinking about activating the present state, but I think we'll save that for later. So let's see. We have two characters here. They don't know we're here. We will. No, we won't do that. We'll just open up with a scattergun. Oh no! Okay, that was my mistake.
You
Shield
could
back
though,
on.
like if you crouch, you're actually making less noise.
This is one of the things that is not often evident because if you crouch your character, you do not generate audio movement events. What that means is that if you can predict which way NPCs will move, you can get much closer to them to do what I essentially did here, which is get the scattergun in a much, much closer position.
Yeah, and the scattergun obviously is better at close range because it scatters a lot of pellets, a lot of darts.
We will push through. Let's have a look.
Yeah, because the scattergun is basically like your shotgun approach in other
Yeah.
games.
The other interesting element here is that, as Viljar said prior, we don't only. Oh, I missed.
Oh, that was a
that's
nice
interesting.
dodge
Let's
from the
not.
NPC.
Let's not. Oh, I'm shielded. He's not going to do anything. It's okay. We'll find him. Overpowered. One of the things that Viljar mentioned before is that because of the setting, because of the Holdsman technology, and because of how we need to value, there has to be value to attacking something, but not really taking its hit points away, which is where staggers and the stagger mechanics really come in. For example, with the scattergun is one of the best tools you have to force a stagger at short range, not melee range, but at short range, to a target that you manage to land all of your darts on. So we're going to continue advancing, explore this space. Shall we activate the special?
Just wait till you get
energy?
in a little bit of trouble.
Let's get a bit of trouble. So, kind of along the corridor, I will zoom in with my magical Mark 1 eyeball to try to spot the baddies as we advance ever so slowly. No. There we go. Right, let's pull back.
Just
Lead
be in
charge,
there.
we proceed to compel, tactically withdraw.
He didn't.
Heroically running away.
Oof. Okay, I need to. This is the other element. We need to disposition them.
Oh,
Oh, he didn't get through. Oh, there's dodging. Please push through. Nice. I need to.
Oh.
I have my abilities.
So we see it's very much about positioning and tactical
One,
combat.
2,
Yeah.
3. He staggered. Push through. Push through. Push through. Nice.
and as you saw, the NPC was actually doing a knee charge against you because they have the same abilities as we do.
And he's on reload, and I follow through.
He was just
Successfully.
reloading. Yes, nice.
Successfully. We might actually get NPCs to maybe be a little bit more clever with when they reload versus shielded characters. That's a future team conversation. Let's handle
Maybe you
that.
can at least imbibe some spice beer so you're ready for it.
Absolutely. Let's see. Let's take before we go any further. Let's one. Now push our bar upwards, and we have to wait a few ticks for it to get ready. We're not going to trigger it yet. We're going to wait for the go signal before we get spicy.
Also, you can do that via food or drinks, but also sometimes it kind of goes up organically.
I mean, if you go to a spice field, you will inhale spice
Yes.
directly.
And you can also see the particles in the air. You actually see it. That's very interesting. Super.
Inhale. And then we follow through, and we keep eyes out for the other characters here.
Oh, finish him.
Oh, no!
Oh, he's gonna come.
Oh, I
No.
didn't press. Keyboard fault, not my fault. I actually tried to dodge, or technically dash. Push through the shield. Nice.
So you saw the shotgun there staggering the enemy and then following through with a blade.
My objective there was to read the telegraph on the knee charge and move tactically to the side. I had failed. I pressed the wrong button, but it's okay. Success was still had. Right, and here, because we're in an eco lab, it is actually not the easiest place. Should we activate our power here?
Sure.
Let's
Go
do
for
it. So, we're entering the prescient state. As Viljar said prior, we have increased output of damage, we have reduced cooldowns on our abilities, and more importantly, we have information. And information is ammunition that we can use to succeed.
Yeah, you have to actually see the enemies first, but once you do, you are conscious of where they are.
So, I will actually try to utilize the playstyle of this character build to its optimum. I will float and fight. And if I could please hit. Please hit. No, okay. No, like. Go that way.
You did see the buff activate
Yeah,
though
yeah.
on the right side from
You
your
want to heal?
passives
I need to engage
while
this
you were
frame.
floating.
Dash sideways. 1, 2, 3, dash away. Fence. Parry. Follow through. Success.
And since you're spec'd, you're on the same tier as them basically, it's just one slow blade. If you go against higher tiered enemies, you will have to use more of those, so that's obviously more challenging.
Normally, the first time players experience a location that they're under-geared for, they need to be much. Ooh, okay, let's proceed to melee. Yeah, and you shall. Okay.
From what we saw there was that you were blocking, you weren't parrying, you were
Yeah.
holding block actually.
I didn't feel comfortable in the situation to try to risk it. How did he die? I guess he exploded. That's interesting. Let's
Well,
push
within
forward. Let's see what we encounter. Let's actually reload our equipment. Reload. There we go. This next button. No, that's the same button. Reload this button. There we go. And this last one is already ready to go.
You also see now, of course, that the spice prescient bar goes
It's
slowly
going down, yeah.
And as you saw there, Alex was preparing before the next encounter. You really should prepare before you go into every encounter.
Especially if you play solo, right?
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
be way more careful right now if you play solo like this.
Usually it's okay, it's just a question of how many resources players are willing to sacrifice for their speed and or efficiency. Let's actually throw a Seeker. Bang.
But we also see here what you mentioned earlier when we talked about solo and group play, like Alex is really trying to be able to pick his fights, right?
Yeah.
Like trying to separate enemies, trying to go for cover,
This is a heavy
use his ability
Yeah.
to not have to fight everyone.
Yeah.
at the
I
same
compelled
time.
the heavy there to force them into a long CC effect while dispatching his friend. I'm going to come back now and solve the problem. Okay? Oh no.
And this is the first time we see a heavy in this.
Let's see,
this
let's
level.
switch the disruptor and we need to use our explosive damage to get a little bit of chip on him. Not that much chip, but let's see what happens. We're going to go in. 1, 2, 3. Push through. Disengage, see if he decides to bubble. No. Another hit. Okay. No. And then
Because-
And yeah, this guy has a minigun, and they are very good at taking down your shield as well.
One of the
Oh,
that was very close.
he was
Okay.
just about to do a suspensor blast, which would incapacitate Alex.
One of the big things that players will experience is that even though, as we listed prior, even though an individual character is quite easy to handle, the second you mismanage space or mismanage resources, it becomes very tricky. I need to stop speaking and focus. It becomes very tricky to handle the output that everything is throwing, which is why I need to try to focus these guys down quickly. CC him, disengage, reposition.
I jokingly say running away bravely, but like it's really a tactic.
It's a smart tactic
You
sometimes. yeah.
should try to get away from it, regroup, and then go back in with a plan. Because going up against a lot of enemies solo is tricky.
Right, let's progress. Okay, this way. It looks interesting. Let's have a look. Right, that appears to be a rain. Ooh, okay, let's check this way. Rotating.
heavy.
Right. So again, we'll compel him away from this problem, and then we'll press the opposite direction. And we'll try to dispatch his friends quickly. And it's not me, it's the hardware. Into melee, blocking.
Oh.
No, I failed. Okay, knee charge. Knee charge successful, push through.
Boom.
Abilities allow you to bypass. Can I? Yes, I can. No, okay. Pull away. The reason I pulled away is because I noticed my stamina, which is why my abilities were not usable. I pulled away to regenerate my stamina, re-heal to be safe. I could probably have succeeded the fight. I just didn't want to choose to risk my resources because everything in Dune costs time, costs investment. Why risk when you can make things a little bit more successful?
Right, and you might even have lost your shield because
Absolutely.
of the minigun. that you use.
Push through.
And I'll mention for the beta players that we're doing a big rework or iteration on stamina. So a lot more things will cost stamina. Stamina won't always regenerate depending on actions that you do. You won't regenerate stamina as you sprint, for instance. We have a few more fixes coming in for this as well, but it will be a much more valuable and an important aspect of combat.
This version is not on the beta, right?
No, this is
No,
not on the
this
beta.
one
Right,
is
so
not
this
on
is
the
the
beta.
first time beta players could be potentially seeing the changes that are upcoming.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lovely lore tidbit. Let's press the button. People can enjoy the text on screen while we proceed to succeed.
That's actually the boss that is talking.
It's the leader of this this area, Inhaler.
I don't see any contacts. We'll push forward and further. And okay. This looks like a space with something. Here we go. Right. So my press instinct has depleted,
Oh yeah.
which is why I don't see the character's lovely highlights to tell me what they're about to do. So I need to choose when to go in with much less information.
And we can see here what's happening now is that he's in withdrawal, so he can't actually consume spice. He needs to wait for that bar to go down, then he can consume spice. However, he will have to consume more spice now than he did in the first round because his tolerance is growing. And this can go up to quite a high level where you'll have to consume a lot of spice in order to be able to go pressure.
Shall we consume spice? Let's see. Oh wait, no. I will know. I will focus on the gameplay. Right, dispatched. Okay, let's see what this character is doing. Okay, he thinks I'm there. Let's compel. One. Break away. Scattergun. See what he does. Aha, I'm not there anymore. And I can't hit him. Great. Wait, again.
Is this the server acting up?
Let's see what happens. We're gonna finish and get our success opportunity. Oh, no.
Back.
Leaving. Nice. And let us rearm and re-equip. We'll press this button to rearm this gun. We'll press this button that's already reloaded. Scattergun is reloaded. Disruptor ready. Let's rock and roll. Right, I kind of know this layout. We're gonna go down the stairs. And further and further. Let's see again. Shall we? Let's use that and use more. And spice is the fuel of the Empire. It is a lovely resource, it is expensive, but we are on Arrakis, therefore, unlike most characters in the universe, we have easy access to it.
And to be fair, we're cheating right now a little bit when it comes to spawning items, spawning the beer.
It's fine. Mostly. It's absurd.
No, but you will be able to craft spice beer, spice coffee yourself, and you'll also sometimes find it in loot.
Right, okay, that's
And
a good
again,
this
if you
way.
like getting close to spice field, it would also.
Happens if I don't dispatch them quickly. See, I can shoot. I can float and shoot as well. No, I have to reload. That's a mistake, Alex. There we go. My shield almost popped. This is from 2 attackers. Okay, less speaking, more focus. Sorry. What is he doing? He's being compelled. He'll approach. And he'll get stabbed. Nice. Disruptor, reloaded. Rifle, scattergun, reload. Hello. Pressing forward and further. Are we alone? We're alone. We continue. I believe we are 2 rooms away from our final destination. Let's see how well we overcome this. We have 1 shooter, 1 fighter, and oh, that's another one. Okay, I will try to quickly compel away. What's that problem? Focus on this problem. Explosive floating bomb. Go down. You decided to. Oh, that's a misplay. Oh, parry! I'm sorry. I will counter your parry with my knee. Successful. Oh, there's his friend. Parry.
Nice.
Counter. Rotation. Fantastic. Do I have to heal? And I just run out of stamina at the end. And they're very much pushing me. This character is actually also, like Viljar was saying beforehand, a little bit pushed to the further end of progression. So I have some things that are helping me. I'm unhydrated. Where is there a water location?
Exactly.
Can I find some water here?
To the right there.
There's
I thought it was.
Let me do a quick rotation around this room to see if there's a water container somewhere in here that I can exploit. Else, I'll have to go another way. Well, we won't have to. We'll just. Yeah, let's. No, sorry. One more. Let's just check this room here up ahead. Maybe. Oof. There we go. We shall drink. Get more stamina. Is there a second?
No.
No? No? Okay, 1 is enough. Even without the bonus, it's good not to go too far close to the red. All right, let's continue our experience.
This gives me anxiety to just walk past loot boxes. That is like so.
Sorry, developers.
Gotta open all the boxes.
Developers. Yeah. Let's continue through. Okay, let's check this corridor. Nice. Okay. Right, and I believe we ought to be somewhere near one of the primary events.
So this is where we come to the blood door. You can pass through, but you cannot exit until you've taken care of all the enemies inside.
The terminology of a blood door is started off as an internal keyword for us. These are technically Holtzman shields that have been specifically configured for very, very specific purposes to make a gameplay experience better for the player. We shall proceed through. Now,
And if you look back at the door, you can see that you can't actually exit now.
However, your friends can follow through.
Yeah.
And sometimes not friends also follow.
This is true.
And this is where some of the deep desert ecology become very, very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so in this location we have a big gameplay space, 3 paths, left, middle, and right, and there is also an underside. I happen to know this because I've reviewed this ecolab a couple of times, and I will pretend like I don't, but I do. We will engage with this piece of content doing a clockwise rotation, going left and around. Let's see how well we do. We will try not to aggro too much because, as we saw previously, if I make a mistake, I am punished. We will try to minimize mistakes, and again, crouching to not risk being heard until we absolutely have to. That's a heavy. This is a bad location. I should not have gone this way. I need to use this box to keep cover from the heavy. Let's see how long my shield can hold before I... Oh! Nice, okay. Please shield, shield, shield. What is he doing? Shield, shield, compel. Run through. We will not fight him because we don't have the resources to. We will engage. No, I missed. Oh, yeah. No, stop. Please stop. Okay, stab, stab, stab. Finish, crouch. Get below line of fire. That guy doesn't see us yet. Okay, we have resources. We're going to go in. This was a marksman that I happen to notice here. He's quite dangerous. If he is not dispatched quickly, they proceed to stack up a lot of poison damage on our players. We will not fight the heavy because that is a dangerous proposition. Instead, continue to rotate around the location to dispatch his friend. Actually, let me see. Maybe it's not so bad. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get rid of this guy before we get into too much trouble. Compel, advance. No, Alex. Stab the body. Stab. No, get away. In charge. No, I don't have any stamina. No.
Hectic check when it comes down to resource management.
I'm too eager right now.
Power
yes.
tools.
Did that push through? No, it didn't. Try again. Dash in. And yes. Great. Follow. Staggered. Push through. There we go.
Even a combat designer can play perfectly every single time. That's
It's
totally
the hardware.
fine.
Please don't blame me.
It's the hardware and the
okay.
gaming chair.
I am actually disappointed that my pressing state is depleted yet again. It is not very efficient to not know how many hit points the opposition has.
Well,
however, we will make do.
Normally people won't explain so much as they have the pressure state basically because you lost quite a bit of it
Yes.
there. It does last for quite some time.
What did I do? Pull back a little bit. See what happens. It's a heavy and a...
And aside from combat like this now, he's in withdrawal, and you start seeing these pink elements showing up every now and then. So after a while, you might start seeing things that aren't there if you trigger pressions too often.
Why I said spice can influence your character in all different kinds of ways.
So you almost had a shield
almost
there.
have a shield. Come on, push through. No, not enough. Next weapon. Oh, successful. Okay, great. And then let's look around to see. Let's actually reload before we push further. Disruptor, rifle, scat gun, fantastic. Rifle equipped. Let's see what we see. I believe we have cleared the left and right, and now we need to have a look at the middle. Yep, yes we do.
Have we cleared it?
Let's have a floating detonator. 3, 2, 1, click. Some damage.
Yeah, so this assault seeker actually has double functionality where you can throw it and it will explode on contact, or you can trigger it as it moves towards the target, or past the target even.
Push through the shield. Nice. Reload equipment. Reloaded. Oh, hello. No. Wait. I'm not ready. Wait, get your turn. Floating bomb. Nah. Oh, I missed time that. That was too far. Go and reload. Oh, push headshot. Yes, there we go. Great. Let's heal some health.
We see that the door is still locked over there, so there's enemies
There's still
left.
some enemies.
Yeah, that's the way we need to go. So we need to find the remainder of the encounters.
Yeah,
Hey, and from this vantage point,
some floating maybe.
we will absolutely succeed float.
That's where your build comes into play.
Oh.
specifically.
No, bad. No, that's also bad. Please don't. I have to confront him. I don't have any. Oh, get away!
That's my experience with this.
Disruptor?
That's my experience with this Ecolab as well. It can get out of hand really quickly if you're not very careful. If you solo this.
Where is
one.
it coming? Okay, heal. Where's the heavy? If it's on the corner, I'll rotate right. 1 health pack, 2 health pack. Stay low. Stay low. Stay safe. I have stamina. I have resources. Go. Okay, let's go. Daggers to hand. He was right here. There he is. Quantum bomb. Bam.
I'm just choosing to ignore you.
One.
Oh, you got.
Okay. Knee to the face. Dagger through. And run away. Give me my cooldowns back. And stamina. Stamina's 1. Compel. Dagger. This is all about risk minimizing. I could have been much more aggressive. I could have risked my durability of my equipment. I chose not to. I believe we have mostly cleared the space. Let's have a reload and a look-see. We'll go. Right. Let's get back upstairs. To there. To there.
Yeah,
we
you see
go.
the door is green there. So we're not going to go through the next room. That's where Inna Hiller, the leader of this Ecolab or this testing station, is. We're gonna end the solo play at this point.
Yep. I love
Not spoil the boss here.
No,
Yes.
that's
Even though we
fine.
heard her talk actually earlier, so I was like, I'm not gonna kill her this time around. So that gives us the opportunity to now from solo gameplay go into group gameplay. We're gonna set up some things behind the scenes. We're gonna watch a quick video first, and then we'll be right back with more gameplay for you to watch. We are back again. As we mentioned, we're going to set up a few more things behind the scenes. The crew will tell me when we're ready to actually go. We are ready? Well, that was fast, was super efficient because we were actually, because we're going to talk a little bit more about the differences between the Ecolab that we just went through solo and the Ecolab that we're actually going through now in group play. We can still do that, actually, we can explain that a little bit as well because the approach is going to be quite different. Plus also we see more group viability or like group gameplay, group like, what's the term I'm looking for?
Coordination,
Coordination,
a little bit
thank you.
of planning,
Exactly.
well, a little bit more of them planning because these locations are in the deep desert. So you have to have a fair bit of planning and protection because not everyone here is a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the deep desert ecolabs, they are in PvP areas, so you run the risk of PvP here, obviously.
Also, we see also the players here, they wear higher tier armor, they have better weapons, they have more abilities as well. Plus, but you're probably going to comment on that later on as well, the approach and the mechanics in this type of ecolabs is kind of different than we just saw in the solo
Yes,
gameplay.
the enemies are much more aggressive, they're much higher tiered enemies. The weaponry and the gadgets and abilities they use against you are more advanced. Also here, the blood doors have an additional function where waves will spawn. So not only do you have to clear the room once, you have to clear it. You have to clear all the waves, the waves, before you can actually continue to the loot. And loot also works a little bit differently in the deep desert compared to PvE areas. PvP loot and PvE loot works differently. So in PvE, everybody gets the loot. You can't cheat anyone because anyone going up to the loot box, exactly, they will get the loot. However, here you have to trust that the first person to get the loot actually will share it with the group, which may or may not be the case.
So better make sure you have good friends. Like let's say it that way, right? So yes.
So yeah, we just used We just cut down the door, as you saw. This is the same technology as is used to harvest rocks and materials out in the world.
The players are going to advance through the first of the blood doors, exploring the space around them. And
That's,
we will
I
experience...
think Camille playing, so he is actually looting boxes. Thank you. Better for my anxiety.
Let's see what our players encounter. Exploring the space. I love these. These are so different just to seeing desert all of the time. It's lovely.
I do recommend having a shot caller on the team, someone who coordinates, because if everybody just do their own thing, these enemies are not only higher T, they have more health, they're much more aggressive.
Also, can we talk about friendly fire?
Absolutely.
So you won't do damage to your friends with normal darts, things like that. However, area effects, abilities, and the flamethrower will actually damage your friends. They won't take full damage, but you should be careful.
So everything that kind of does area of effect damage, right, will also kind of damage, do damage to your friends.
So things like poison, explosives, flame, when delivered in an AoE, which is also flamethrower, and in a deployable, like you showed me using the assault seeker beforehand. And CC effects like a suspensor grenade or reduction grenades are also applied in full. So you really need to manage where you deploy your AoE CCs to not hamper your allies. I believe our players have just defeated one of the waves, and then they're now preparing to receive the next. They will rearm and re-equip and be ready to rock and roll. And we'll do maybe some of the shot calling for them instead, because they're all very, very focused on the gameplay.
They also have different builds, different abilities equipped, different weapons, which is interesting. These ones just switch between those different.
I love the camera work that we're doing right here. Like we saw one player focusing an NPC, and then we immediately switched to his friend to focus on the same NPC. This is exactly the kind of coordination players will need to exhibit in these locations. While it may not be obvious until you're actually playing these places, these NPCs are significantly stronger, they're faster, they are much more dangerous. However, some people might want to challenge themselves and come here alone. Who knows? It's up to them.
Yeah.
They also retreat, they use cover, they use the same abilities that players have at their disposal as well, depending on how
they'll
kind of
dash and they'll parry much more often as well. I do want to mention one thing again to the beta players, that we have listened to feedback when it comes to how friendly fire works. Friendly fire will still be valid for groups, but we are reworking how they affect guilds, basically.
Prior to this change, both guild mates and group mates were considered allies for the purposes of not taking damage.
Exactly.
This is one of my favorite. Like, I can tell that's a Swordmaster build, because you saw the green effect, which is basically a passive of the Swordmaster archetype. If you kill someone, it will give you a buff for, I think the first level is 15% more damage for the next attack as well. After you kill
you see the Bene Gesserit, they stand apart because their effects are black or dark.
It's very distinct, so players can understand what's happening around them. It's good group play.
This is very good.
Especially these things are very dangerous.
It's almost as if they're knowing what they're doing.
Right? It's wonderful. Bit of resource management, a bit of coordination, a little bit of healing.
What we saw there was quick looting. They looted them quickly. They didn't have to go into an inventory. You can go into an inventory and just pick the pieces you want, but that was quick looting where you just hit spacebar and you get them one by one.
I think that person is actually kind of poisoned right now. If I like that,
exactly.
you can see the.
So in the paradigm that we have, applying a healing kit will remove poison effects from the players. One of the nice things about poison grenades is that especially both in PvE and PvP, they have a use case. Not only will they force NPCs to move, because NPCs don't like to be in bad clouds of green stuff, it also forces players in PvP to actually make a choice between, do I want to stay here and suffer this small but eventually significant effect, or do I want to reposition and heal? There are many ways to use these, and players are, that's a very close by grenade.
That was really nice there, though, like almost out of stamina, like,
nice.
Did we
that was
mention?
really nicely played though.
I don't think we mentioned, but enemies will, oh yeah, you saw one, and enemies will
They will
actually,
revive,
they will actually, sometimes they run away and you wonder what they're doing. They're doing the same thing the player is doing. They're actually running away to heal so that they can come back.
And they can, of course, also revive themselves. They can get out of the down but not out state as well, like players can.
I love the floating light machine gun, the character build just there that we saw a second
Oh
ago.
yeah.
And that's a throwback to the one
The
that maybe
turrets?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah, I was
see what
about
we
to
do
mention it
next.
earlier because we've seen it a few times now. We haven't actually commented on it,
Yeah.
which is
Here we see it, the turret.
yes, which is a method ability, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's like actually one of the first method abilities. And now we're in prescient state again. So see all the
That's a lot
information.
of NPCs against. Let's see how well we do. A little bit of panic, a little bit of crossfire. The question is, will our team survive and succeed and receive
Nice.
the rewards?
Depends on the hardware, from what I understand.
Nice one. Oh my god. Okay, brownie points. That was really nice.
Very good. Very good. I enjoy it.
Unscripted joke.
Oh,
Awesome. Not that we have
Pennies,
anything scripted
pallets.
here really, but that was really nice.
here we go. 1, 2. Ooh. Through the shield.
Oh,
Shield's broken. Almost broken.
He's gonna.
He's still focusing
Nice.
on. Okay, nice.
That's a flamethrower heavy.
Also,
And he's
we've
burning
seen-
some friends.
Also, we've seen a knife earlier, and now we actually see a sword in action.
One of the big differences that Viljar mentioned before is the gameplay stylization. Swords are an area of control weapon. They're a little bit slower than daggers, but daggers allow you to quickly attack and also lunge. One of the things that we really want to focus on for our melee playstyles, which is not super evident right now, but soon TM will be, is that they are all distinct, have a gameplay role that players can choose to enjoy, and those gameplay roles will be meaningful and engaging, and they will have distinct counters and strengths and weaknesses.
I mean, I gotta say it again. I love melee. I'm like, it's my build. Like, I combine Swordmaster plus Jesuit skills, and I absolutely love it. Plus, I have a sniper rifle. Because I either want to be super far away and kill people really fast, or be in their face. Like, that's kind of a playstyle. I love it too. And it
They were
works
just saw a
really well.
suspensive blast from the enemy there, which staggered our friend here.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure from 2 NPCs. Oh, no. Uh-huh. So here we see some special NPCs. These NPCs are configured to be different from the normal experience, wherein the actions and abilities that they can throw out are much, much more.
Oh, they're really wailing
Less
on
cool. Yeah, there we go.
Gideon right now.
That's a
Oh
friend
my
down.
god.
You guys have to work harder to survive. Let's go. No cheating.
Should have used that prescience.
Where was I? Right. Some of these NPCs are configured quite differently to the normal experience outside of the deep desert. They have abilities that players do. They are on a lower cooldown, and they are much, much more eager to use them against players.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
Very-
Let's call it aggressive. Yeah, they're very aggressive. Yes.
Ability use. Oh, they defeated the wave.
They
That's
did
fantastic.
actually. Yeah, they did defeat them.
Then we are waiting. Oh, and they're prepping as well with turrets and everything. Right.
Also getting
Let's
their
see
friend.
where the next wave comes in from. Oh, bubbles. Bubbles everywhere. A bit of focus.
Be nice there. You can see all the abilities that specific NPC has.
Access granted.
They need to defeat all of the NPCs before the next wave triggers. Oh, actually, was that the last wave?
I was just wondering that. I was just about to ask.
I
like,
believe our friends
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
successfully succeeded.
because it's actually because the door is green there.
Yep.
So that was the last one.
Good job.
Good job, team. It was wonderful.
And we can see here on the left, in the
Yeah.
lower left corner, that they're all grouped up. You see the names of them and everything. So
Right, yes.
Good going group. Good going team.
Absolutely. One of
Someone
the-
took one for the team, which is totally okay. Someone you have to have a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
And now, that awkward moment where trust is tested in terms of who chooses who gets the loot.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Well, you have
Exactly.
a leader. You have a leader who hopefully distributes loot fairly. But yeah, you nicely see there the group set. Actually, the group setup just changed.
Okay.
Oh, it's oof.
Who? The group setup is changing there behind the scenes. Okay, yeah, nice.
It's one of those moments when friends decide not to be nice to each other.
Never
Or
say it
friends
again.
won't be
Make sure
friends.
you know your friends. You have close friends. Was it like
Oh.
keep your friends close? No, keep your enemy close. No, keep your friends close. Your enemy closer. Keep your friends
Oh.
close, your enemy closer.
Oh, from the second perspective. Oof.
It's just, this is a single.
So, a 2-on-2 fight, a 2-on-2 player fight in a confined space is going to get messy. There's going to be colors on the screen. There's going to be effects going off. We will see if we can comment as best as we can to what's happening.
See,
like
there's
esports
someone dead there already.
like-
Oh, they took somebody down. That was very fast.
Is it 2
No.
versus 1
Oh,
now?
stamina
Or
list.
is it, yeah, 2 versus 1, yeah. Oh, nice.
This is very nice.
Oh, someone went prescient.
Managed to catch him.
Cheating! They're cheating.
No, I mean,
I would call it cheating. If someone goes present and I can't, it's obviously cheating. Someone
I
has like...
believe somebody got betrayed.
looks like it.
Oh, and there's another. Oh, there's a second
Ooh,
betrayal.
That was a Bennett chest
Oh,
with skill
oh
on
yeah.
a friend.
That's
That's
funny.
like the ultimate betrayal. If you use a Bennett chest with skill on your friend,
Yeah.
that is just the ultimate
The
betrayal.
question is, who is the better player?
This is an interesting fight.
This is very close.
Yeah.
It's very close.
Oh, it's
Someone
getting
ran out of
staggered.
stamina.
No, yeah. It's 1v1
Oh.
now. Oh,
And then we
it's...
saw the new whirlwind.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I missed them.
Sword is there. Oh, I believe. Oh, the count is back. Needs to be a little bit more ability use and a little bit better stamina management. Bank your stamina and deploy it in one big burst.
Actually, you don't see the stamina on the other player, even if you're prescient, which
No.
is actually really... I think that's... Oh,
Oh, boom.
that's close! It almost got... One of the players is sitting
Some
right
some
here,
tension in the
and he
room
just
here.
went like, throw his head back, and his headphone just went flying. It's just like, well done though, team, well done. That
There
was
can only
great.
be one.
There can only be one. Yeah, exactly. There can only be one. But
That's
yeah,
a good way
make
of
sure
putting
you
it.
have close friends if you go into these type of
It's
collabs.
like these kind of situations is actually
situations.
one of the paradigms that we've designed the game around, which is making friends and enemies. We don't really care which is which, but if you're making friends, if you're making enemies, the game will sustain itself,
You
I
remember
think.
them along the way.
Exactly.
I would care who are my friends. I was like, you don't care who is which, but yeah. But also, I like to backstab people, so there you go. Like in terms of friends and enemies and
That's
enemies.
great.
And, yeah, so.
I very much enjoyed that. I didn't expect a double backstab at all.
The double backstab.
Well,
Okay,
plans within
no pun
plans within
intended.
plans. You know, that's how it goes.
No pun intended. Who was the instigator? I blame Camille, by the way, behind the scenes there.
I think I
So-
saw him play some mine or something.
He's
not talk about
denying.
that.
He's denying it. I don't believe him. I'm 100% sure. I know it wasn't anyone else. My mind was Camille. Anyway, that was the combat section. Thank you so much, Viljar and Alex, for being here chatting and showing off some of the gameplay. We have, of course, as we mentioned earlier today, beta weekend coming up that a lot of players will be able to enjoy and test the combat in Dune Awakening themselves. You will be able to stream, you will be able to show videos and things from that beta weekend. Sometime next month, more concrete information regarding that will, of course, come soon from our side. But before we dive into the next segment, we are just gonna have a little bit of a break and we'll be right back.